Okay. Oh man, what is up, world? Welcome back to the eSportsReports podcast, episode 7, I believe we're on now. Gosh, man.
Pretty sure it's 7.
Yeah, it is. Last time was 6, so we're definitely on 7. Let me. There we go. We are live. Oh, let me mute that so I don't hear me twice. Okay, let me open up. Where's my Discord? Boom. Okay. And my Streamlabs. Okay, got everything working. Okay, so I'm your host. I'm one of your hosts, KernelCory, back again. And got Naterbutter back again as well. I feel like
always back.
I would love to get a third person to or a rotating third. Like we have a few options, like to have a rotating third. But in the future, I think, and highlights as well, as General Krog said, we should have highlights, which would be cool.
Eventually.
Highlights would be cool. I would be down
especially if we could throw it up on YouTube and then just throw over the highlights as we talk about it, kind of thing. Because I don't know if we could do highlights while we're streaming it.
Yeah.
Unless we had them pre-prepared on YouTube or something.
Yeah, it would be. It could be. I mean, I don't know how I would want to do it. I mean, we could potentially do clips, and then do the clips ourselves. Basically take clips of videos and then make our own video and use that.
I hear what you're saying.
But okay, so biggest announcement that came out yesterday was Call of Duty League is finally back. They're coming back this weekend, and here, let me go to this because this I want to say you can. So, okay, as you can see, they've kind of now said that it's kind of looking like it's every 2 weeks is how it's going to go from here on out to kind of keep pace. So it'll be interesting. Let's see how this first one goes, and then we'll really be able to make any. We'll see. We'll see. Well, they're gonna obviously go from there. But there was a lot of hype
the crazy thing to me is the fact that it's taken an entire month almost for them to restart it.
Well, I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay. So the initial. I mean, here's what I would say. The initial games that this weekend was supposed to happen. It's only they really, as long as it's been without Call of Duty League, it's really only been delayed 2 weeks. So they really didn't do that bad. They handled it pretty well. But okay.
I guess I wish they just would have said something. Even if it was in advance, hey, we're gonna have it delayed, but we should have it within the month kind of thing. That would have been nice. But at the same time, it's only been a month, so I can't complain that too much.
I mean, it seemed, and I feel like I don't know what the initial schedule was. I probably wish I could go back and see, but to see it feels like everything's gonna happen a lot more rapidly now. And I think it's smart to give the teams a week, every other week, just so teams, because obviously some teams are gonna have to play back-to-back events. So I mean, you do need time to prepare.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you don't. I guess burnout could be a thing. But okay, so here I've got the groups pulled up for this weekend, and here's kind of my initial thoughts. So when I'm looking, there are 3 teams I'm looking at going into this, and that's Dallas Empire, the reigning champs of the last event, and then you have Huntsman, who last event they played in they won, and then you have Rocker. Those are the only 3 I'm looking at. Anyone else who stands out is going to be kind of a surprise, I feel like.
I feel like Florida has the potential to throw in some upsets simply because they're because of the rest of their group being Ultra and freaking Gorillas.
Yeah.
So I feel like Florida could be look really good coming out of group stages and maybe upset somebody just because momentum, but I don't really know yet.
I mean, that's kind of okay, if I was going to power rank these teams, I would probably say Huntsman. I would the 3 we talked about, I would put those 3 at the top. The order can kind of be done interchangeably. I would probably put Huntsman number 1 and then Empire number 2 just based on what they've done lately. But I would honestly, I mean, as bad as they've been, I think Surge is kind of the team I would look to make the biggest noise coming out of this weekend. Like, for the teams that we haven't seen much from. Like, I would expect them to make the most noise.
Okay, I think they could definitely have like some good series, especially with like. I think they stomp Paris. Honestly, I just don't think Paris is very good.
Okay.
But whenever they go and play like Rocker, I think that'll be a good game. Honestly.
Okay, because what you said, like here, okay. So, okay, we'll go through the matchups, and we'll start with Group B just because we're on Group B. So Huntsman Rocker, I would take Huntsman. I feel like Huntsman are going to be the team that sweeps. They get both their wins, and they're going to be playing on Sunday, no matter what. In my mind.
No, for sure, dude, 100%. Unless like, the thing is, if people like, if they don't make it, the whole online shit is gonna go freaking balls off. Like, I'm kind of worried the fact that if like a team like that doesn't perform well, that it's gonna kind of ruin the rest of the season.
I feel like well, here's the other thing with Warzone and like all these players. I mean, I don't know how much they scrim, and I saw Clayster tweet out something about how the teams have been really unprofessional on like they haven't had as many scrims. You know, people have been late, all this and all that. And so
Yeah, I saw people have been skipping that shit too.
And I feel like Warzone is everyone's kind of in Warzone right now, and they're not really caring about like they're kind of trying to get enjoyment out of the game rather than like practice. So that is one reason I feel like these lesser teams could like use this like, okay, you're out of practice, so we're gonna make a jump. Like we're gonna beat you. And everyone's going to be shocked. But
honestly, that'd be kind of nice. I think that'd be hilarious if they like the teams that are like underrated do like kick ass, and then everybody's trying to blame it online, and they're like, no, we just scrimmed and y'all didn't. So
I feel like it could come down to that. And the thing is, okay, so I watched an interview. Well, Optic Hex, or formerly Optic Hex, uploaded a podcast with Formal, who's on the Huntsman now, and he was saying that whenever like he would play when Battle Royales kind of blew up, he would play like Fortnite or Blackout, and he felt like he would like playing those games made him better at the real game. Like and I don't know what it is, but he said that in an eavesdrop podcast with Optic Hex. And so, I mean, I don't really think that's 100% true. I think it's kind of you kind of believe that, but it's not. I don't take that to be 100%. Like, you can't play Warzone solely and expect to just smack people just based on like, hey, we're like skill, because the skill gap between players at pro levels, I feel like isn't huge. So like practice is what you expect to make the difference.
Yeah, that shit's essential for sure. And like honestly, just personally playing like Warzone and like just normal multiplayer and stuff like that, I feel like I'm much better at playing Warzone simply because like the gunfights are so much more like I'm much more confident winning a gunfight in Warzone than in multiplayer, because you don't have the factor of other people. Like, yeah, they have a squad, but it's 3. It's not 5. And also, you pretty much know where they are because you're so far away when you see them that unless they're right on top of you, that's the only like exception, which is so rare.
Okay. So, okay. I mean, when I'm looking at this, like, I feel like at a Group B, my expectations are Huntsman and Rocker make it out of the group. I don't know how. I don't know who's going to be, because reality, whoever wins that game between Huntsman and Rocker, I expect them to win the second game they play. And then
for sure.
Like the loser, I expect to win the game against whoever. I mean, well, then I guess the loser has to win too, but I don't see Minnesota or Chicago struggling. I mean, Minnesota smacked Seattle last event, and Paris, ever since London, they've kind of dropped off.
Did you ever figure out where Paris is playing out of?
I did
Because
not.
there's no way they're actually playing in Paris.
No, I don't. I mean, they're a European-based team, but I don't feel like any of
They're
the
actually from
teams.
Europe.
And none of the teams are really playing. I feel like Call of Duty is a more like. I feel like the Huntsmen are probably playing out of Dallas. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Huntsmen playing out of Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, my my thought is most of these teams are probably playing in Dallas this weekend or playing in LA. I don't think many
True.
teams are playing in any other spots than those. Because it's like you have to think these orgs have like the orgs behind the names of like Seattle Surge and stuff. Those teams have been established for a long time, so they have roots all over the place. Like Seattle's funded by Luminosity. And so it's like
Okay.
that brand has been around for a while, so they probably have potential locations where they can take their team to play.
Yeah, move around and stuff.
But I mean, I feel like those two are making it to they're gonna make it to Sunday. And then on the flip side, when I'm looking, I feel like if Dallas doesn't make it to Sunday, it's gonna be a real surprise, and I feel like that's just a letdown. But other than that, Toronto really loves to hype themselves up on Instagram, but I feel like they're still bad. They're not.
Oh yeah, they're not good. They're definitely not good.
And then Los Angeles, maybe they still got all like the new guys. They're still like probably one of the youngest teams out there.
The Gorillas were my pocket pick the last time we covered CDL, and those little shitheads let me down because they made all their little roster adjustments, and I liked it, and then they went and just shit the bed. It was hideous. And so they're second to last right now. They're barely better than subliners.
Yeah. And dude, all these bad teams love to hype them, love to. Obviously you gotta post content on your social media pages to keep people interested, but dude, you hype your teams up and then you go out and shit the bed every week. So I really don't know how I feel about all that. Toronto.
They have.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say they have 8 total game wins. That's it.
And who is that? That's Gorillas?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have to think only 2 of those have come with this squad.
Yep.
So.
And then also Toronto only has 9 group wins. Toronto's 10th. Gorillas is 11th.
Okay.
And thank you, Lord, for not putting subliners in this series, or else this would be the ugliest week known to mankind.
Okay. And then, see, I don't know how they determine the groups, but I really feel like they should have some sort of the Overwatch League has turned to a random banning system for heroes, and I feel like we should see they should have a podcast, they should have the week before the tourney or during the week of the tournament draw they need to have a live show where they draw names and we get to see how the groups stack up.
Yeah.
And have some sort of randomization to where it doesn't look staged, it doesn't look set up, to where we can have something good.
Yeah. Whenever you look at the standings, just position, game wins, all that fun stuff, Group B is stacked compared to Group A.
Yeah, because Group B, you got, all these teams, aside from Seattle, have made it to a Sunday event. Made it to Sunday on the event. But on the flip side, Dallas and Florida, yes, they've made it, but, Dallas is the most consistent team in Group A. Week in and week out. And Dallas really doesn't struggle unless it's against a top-tier team. And
that's true.
That's really, and when I look at this, Chicago should give them Chicago should outright beat them, and Chicago beat the crap out of Minnesota last time they played. Chicago, I feel like Chicago has an unreal level of confidence going into most of the events.
I think they should too. Like, they're a real good team, and the fact that Atlanta's not, like, we've been saying this the whole time. Like, if Atlanta's not there, Chicago should win it.
And it goes the same way. Like, but last event we got Minnesota, who Minnesota's the upset, like the Cinderella, who should Minnesota's the real team. I feel like that makes noise. Like, they could beat everyone.
Yeah, they blow shit up for sure.
Will they? But maybe not. But like, they can play. They can play with everyone. Like Toronto.
If they knock Chicago out, I'll be I won't even be. I'll be happy just because rooting for the underdog. But at the same time, like, so disappointed in Chicago if that happens.
I mean, if I had to if I had to pick, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know how the online is gonna impact everything, but I feel like Minnesota, like, they should come out with some sort of fire from losing the last event after taking the best. Like, they had the best win last event, and then they have like the worst ending to the last event. So I feel like to see them win this event would be a redemption story for them. Like, I don't think we can go all year without Minnesota winning an event. I think Minnesota has to win an event. If they don't, that'll be let down. However, their owner, he even said, he was like, I don't care if we get second every event. He's like, if we win the end, like if we win it all in the end, that's all I care about. So.
Nah, I mean, that's true.
But they make a lot of good, like, they place really well generally. And they show up in and out every week. But my only thing is, it seems like, okay, when teams finish, like, okay, last year Gen G, like Gen G's Call of Duty team, they finished second in all these events. Like, they had back-to-back second places. They placed second at like MLG Anaheim, and then they went to the Call of Duty Championships in Miami, and they placed second again. And then they go to Champs, the biggest tournament of the year, and they don't even make it out of like group play. Like, they get smacked by some AM teams, and then one pro team. And so, like, if you get you can finish second every event and then still like screw it up in the end, because you think like, okay, well, we don't, like, all we need to focus on is beating these big teams, when in reality you still have to beat the little teams.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You start to look like, and I feel like that can happen with all these good teams. Like, you start to overlook some teams, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap.
You forget that the other teams are actually pro for a reason.
Yeah, you sit there and you're like if you're Dallas, you're sitting here like, oh dude, we're just thinking about Huntsman. Like, we're playing Huntsman on Sunday. And then next thing you know, you're not even on, like, you're out on Saturday.
You lose your first game against Gorillas.
Exactly. But Toronto got hyped. Like, here's how bad I feel like Toronto is. They got hyped that they went to a map 5 with the Huntsman. Like, dude, don't come out and post on social media about how hyped you are that you competed with a good team. Like, even though everyone counted you out, like, that makes it seem like you counted yourself out. Like, hey, we even knew we weren't supposed to do this, and we did it. It's like,
yeah, that's true.
Like, if you win, like, just fly under the radar. If you win, I mean, I know you have to post up hype videos and you have to post content, but it's like, dude,
post the good plays or something. Don't post like the specific game,
Don't try to sell me on the fact that we competed. We're good. I don't like that.
Like, I've seen a ton of like videos of like, we're ready for CDL to come back, blah 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 blah, because we beat this team. And I was like, what about the rest of the damn teams you've played and got your ass beat by? Like, come on, man. It's just, it's ugly. But I'm so happy it's coming back, so that all this like drama and shit that's been going on can all just kind of like be settled once again in professional play.
Yeah, I mean, the drama, I feel like at the end of the weekend, there is a possibility there will be more drama around Call of Duty League than there was prior to any other event, just because of like the potential for like, oh, well, it was all online and it doesn't, like, it barely counts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I really want to pick Minnesota to win it all. I feel like Minnesota is capable of winning it all, and I feel like with the motivation of, hey, we got second last, we got robbed. Like, they got robbed last event. They should have won. They deserved to win. And
I don't know if robbed is the right term. I feel like they kind of screwed themselves, which they deserved.
I feel like they can play amazingly well, and then like they can play great, but they can also look so flat against some teams. And Huntsman is one of those teams they've looked really like, oh my god, like this is the same guys who went out and beat FaZe.
Yeah. You see, I feel like Rocker, initially I was like, okay, Rocker, like they play to the level of the team they're playing against. But then they went and got like 3-0'd by Chicago. And I was like, well, maybe like they're consistent, but some games, some matches, they just kind of shit the bed. And I don't know why. Like it's not pretty.
They run like they're one of, I feel like they're a weird team. Like some of these teams, they run, okay. Here's kind of how I look at it. Like the most significant changes when you look at how teams play is like some teams will run the M16 barrel on their M4, and other teams run like the Corvus Marksman barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I don't know, in my mind, I feel like the Corvus plays faster, but the M16 barrel plays more of like an anchor role. Like, hey, when we're playing hardpoint, I'm holding this spot and I can just lock it down.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think I really would pick. I feel like Minnesota could either be the team that wins it or the team that totally misses and they come out and thinking like, oh, we're supposed to win this, and then they come out and they lose it all, and you're like, oh, that's the same team that beat FaZe.
Yeah, that's true.
But
you see, in my head, like, one, I want Dallas to do well. I really want them to do well, Texas, whatever. But I want them to do well, but I'm really worried that because of all the hype they've been getting, how everybody's saying that they're supposed to do well, that they're just going to go out there and shit the bed. Like, I see that happening so bad.
Okay. So, okay. Here's my predictions. So, okay, Huntsman, I'll give Huntsman the benefit of the doubt. They beat Rocker. I give Seattle over Paris. So then Seattle and Huntsman win. And then I think Rocker probably beats Paris and then goes on to beat Seattle. So Huntsman and Rocker are playing on Sunday in the semis. Chicago with the 2-0 and Rocker with the 2-1. And then I'll pick Dallas Empire to win with their 2-0. Like, they'll beat Gorillas, and then I would bet Mutineers. I mean, I feel like that might be the hardest game to call, Mutineers Ultra. I feel like most people are going to pick Mutineers. But it's really, I feel like either of these teams is just going to get smacked. It doesn't matter who wins.
Yeah.
And so
I think,
yeah.
Dude, I completely agree with Group B. Group A, throwing you like a little curveball here. Dallas loses first game to Gorillas.
Okay.
Florida wins. Dallas stomps Toronto. Florida beats Gorillas.
Okay.
And then Dallas would play
Gorillas again.
And then Dallas wins.
Okay. I mean, that's not, I feel like that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. When I'm thinking of how these teams play, Dallas and Florida are definitely my top two out of Group A, and so I would expect them. And I feel like this is like, okay, and here's the other thing, like then you could have the potential Florida matchup versus okay, well then you put Florida as your, like, Florida won their 2 games. So Florida would be playing, I don't know how would they play? So,
and this is all with Prestini playing. If the man is a little bitch and doesn't play again, then I hope they lose every single game.
Well, the thing is, they're making it sound like it's not his choice about playing anymore. They're kind of, I guess they're like, I don't know. I didn't look into it. I saw a bunch of headlines a while back, but I haven't looked into it, and I don't think, I mean, he should play. I feel like it's best for your team if he plays. I mean, world champ, came off a great year last year, has been, when he's played, I mean, he's been great. He's been pretty good. He
Oh yeah,
go
like
finals.
you think about it. Whenever they played Los Angeles, they played like shit without him. But when they played in Atlanta, they kicked ass. The dude destroyed.
Exactly. So I mean, okay. So out of those four, who are you picking to win it all?
To win it all, I can't stray away from Huntsman. I just think they're a much more talented team.
I feel like Huntsman has the veterans, and they've been doing this forever. Like, and I think like after the past few years that like the OG Optic gang has had, like Huntsman, the new Huntsman team. Like I feel like this is kind of their like prove it year. Like, hey, we should like we put together a squad that should win all the time, every time.
Wait, who owns Huntsman again?
NRG.
Who owns Optic?
Optic is owned by Immortals now.
Okay, because I know it was Optic Hex, but I know he's like in charge of Huntsman.
He's now co-CEO of NRG.
Okay, that's the information I needed. I knew he was in NRG, I just didn't know what he was.
He wanted to work out something where he could go with Envy, be a part of Envy, but somehow it didn't work out. I guess he wasn't going to get... I feel like here's the problem, like you have Hastro, who's an old Call of Duty guy, and you have Hex, who's an old Call of Duty guy, and it's like, you have these dudes who it's like, it probably does the league better to have these names competing against each other than them working together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like like whenever you put like Steph Curry and Durant together with Klay Thompson, it's like, dude, we don't want to see y'all just dominate everybody.
Okay.
We want to create we want to keep some of the rivalry there for the league. But I feel like Huntsman, this is their prove it year. Like they haven't Optic, like formerly Optic was flat. Like they started off strong in Black Ops 4, but other than that, they really never produced anything worthwhile. And then World War II, they were terrible. So it's like, this is like, they've had a few years where they haven't done much. Like,
yeah.
They really haven't done anything since Infinite Warfare. Okay. But yeah, I mean, Huntsman, solid pick. I feel like Huntsman's always a solid pick. I really would love to see Rocker win it, but I'd
like to see Rocker win it too.
And I don't think, I mean, maybe playing online gives Dallas an edge over Huntsman because it's not the same stress level. You're not in front of anyone. You're kind of on your, like, you're at your own place, and you're where you play every day. You have some more comfort. And maybe that will be the edge that Dallas needs to win again, like go back to back. Because this is, I mean, no one's, okay. I mean,
dude, if Rocker gets first, Dallas gets second, and Chicago gets third, then they're going to be in a three-way tie, which would be freaking hilarious.
I mean, Dallas and Chicago, they're both looking like they would potentially be going back to back at the events. Like, Dallas won the last one. Huntsman won the one before. So whoever wins this has now won 2 events in a row that they've been at. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be it. Hopefully the games are good. Hopefully the issues aren't so overwhelming that it's not a drag to watch and it's fun.
How many pauses per game do you think we're gonna get?
I really hope. How many draws do you think we're going to get, really? That's the real question. How many ties are we going to get?
God dang.
Here's the other thing. With the new... Okay, so new season for the Battle Pass on Call of Duty starts tomorrow. Obviously, they're going to make an update and changes are going to happen. It'll be interesting to see if they make any reasonable changes to multiplayer and how those may impact the games this weekend and how teams adjust. So,
yeah.
This weekend could be full of we could get a lot of different results than we expect.
Dude, it could be a really freaking spicy weekend. Real spicy weekend.
I just wish, I mean, I'm ready for Call of Duty League. I'm ready for 100 Thieves to join Call of Duty League in some degree. In some aspect, I know Nadeshot said he doesn't want to tie 100 Thieves down to a single location because he wants it to be a worldwide brand. But it's like, dude, it'll be interesting. I feel like maybe 100 Thieves is a New Orleans-based franchise because Bourbon Street's kind of a little sketchy, you know? You go somewhere...
Honestly, I could freaking see it.
I mean, that
just like right outside New Orleans, they have one little, like a small little office space only for Call of Duty.
I mean, I feel like 100 Thieves that's a reasonable location that could use a Call of Duty. Like, that's a good city that could use a Call of Duty franchise, and that would be a good, like, I feel like the Louisiana fan base is they love sports. I feel like they love college football and pro football. Like, they're hardcore about their teams.
Yeah. See, what I was thinking was like, so do you know where Florida, like the Mutineers, where they're based out of?
I don't think I could tell you actually. Let me see.
Because if they're not in Miami, then I feel like Miami could be 100% like a 100 Thieves location. I feel like that's like calling Nate Shot as Miami.
Okay, it's Florida. Okay, they're owned by Misfits.
Misfits, dude. I haven't heard that name in a minute.
I don't think it's. I can't see I don't think it says exactly where. It really. I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't love the whole. Like, I would rather be city based, but I feel like Florida is such a. I don't feel like there will be another Florida franchise. I think we're more likely to get another LA franchise than another Florida franchise.
That's fair.
But in my mind, okay, if they were to add teams to the Call of Duty League, they would add, I feel like, at least 4 more teams. And I feel like reasonable locations. I feel like Call of Duty is a more North American, European league. It's not really a Asian league. Like, we're not going to get Asian-based teams.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Point. So I feel like New Orleans is a good place to think. Like, New Orleans could be a strong one. Possibly, what do we got? What do we have up north? I mean, I don't think they would throw another Canadian-based franchise in there.
I could see them throwing another one in Toronto, honestly.
Another Toronto team, you think?
Yeah. Dude, now that you got me thinking about it, like, the freaking Orient, those people do not play games with, like, controllers unless it's, like, a fighting game.
Who is that?
Like, the entire Asian population.
Yeah, I mean, aside from... Yeah, it's mainly, like... They don't...
Think about it. It's all keyboard mouse.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They, like... Aside from Super Smash and fighting games and, like, Tekken...
Freaking Tekken 5.
They dominate that. They generally dominate that realm of esports. They dominate the fighting esports, and then they dominate keyboard and mouse, generally.
Yeah.
But, okay. I mean, potentially, I would... I mean, the only team... my hope is at some point we get a Tennessee-based franchise. I think that would be cool. So I think those are
a Nashville team.
And then, is there a Pennsylvania team? I feel like Pennsylvania is a big market too.
Philly or Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, it might be the Pittsburgh Knights. Oh God.
Hell no, dude. We will quit talking about freaking Call of Duty if the Pittsburgh really Knights join it.
That could really be it, though. That'd be funny.
Dude, let's just start pushing Space Station Gaming. I want them back, dude. I miss them already.
I mean, it's okay. You have 2 Canadian franchises. You have 2 LA franchises.
Wait, 2 Canadian?
Yeah, Toronto and there's another one. I swear there was another one. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, what sport is it that they have 2 then? There's something they have 2. I must be
Overwatch?
It might be. Yeah, it's Vancouver. Because Titans. But the other thing is, Vancouver Titans is owned by LG, who owns Seattle. So that's why I don't think they would get another.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it'd be more likely that I think in order to create spaces, I think teams would have to relocate. But I think a lot of the developed COD players are American based, so I feel like more.
We're missing the most important state, though. Austin, Houston.
Yeah, I mean, Houston the Outlaws were owned by Optic, or were an Optic subsidiary, so I feel like that could be a route they go. I feel like in the future, like they want to keep Optic Gaming in Call of Duty for a while because I feel like
they have to.
It's a brand.
Yeah.
I think I think as time progresses, Optic Gaming may get phased out. When the generation of us, like the people who grew up watching FaZe and Optic and the trick, like they know Optic for trick shotting and they know them for sniping. When the people,
dude, I will always remember Optic Predator.
When they know those clans for sniping, when those people die off of eSports caring, that's when the Optic franchise moves and potentially loses the Optic Gaming part. But I think for the foreseeable future, Optic will stay.
Yeah.
Okay. But back into I kind of tried to transition with the nade shot thing, but then we kind of kept going with the.
Oh wait, I have one more thing about Call of Duty.
Okay.
So, I need your bet. I need the over or the under of at least 5 ads between games.
5, like between full games, or like between match breaks, or like between like.
Okay, so let's think about it. There's 5. Okay, let's go 1 match. There's 5 games in the matches.
Okay. How many?
Over or under 5 ads per match.
Are we saying full screen ads? Are we counting full screen ads as ads? Like.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like they're stopping the program to run an ad. Simply because think of all the money they've put into this, and think of all the money they've lost from it already.
I feel like.
Do you think they haven't gone out and tried to sell ads out the ass for this?
I think there's gonna. Okay, so here's my other kind of thought. Like Overwatch. So Overwatch is definitely they started their own hashtag, like play, like be a part of, like they have a COVID kind of hashtag going. So I feel like there's definitely going to be some COVID ad. There will definitely be. What other? I'm trying to think of all the sponsors for Call of Duty League. There's really like none of them just jump to mind. There's going to be a Game Fuel ad for Mountain Dew.
Game Fuel. What's it called? Astro Gaming.
Oh, Astro. Yeah. Okay. I would say I would go over. There will probably be, even if it only goes 3 matches, I think from intermission, from like pre-game to post-game, 5 ads, I would say over. I will say over just with how everything's gone. Especially with the losing money through like the show of it. Like where we can't sell tickets online.
Oh yeah. I completely agree. Dude, simply from watching League of Legends, I can't tell you how many freaking State Farm ads I have seen. I'm going insane. I've seen all of them. I've seen the new Black Jake 1,000 times.
Oh my gosh, the new Black Jake. They loved to show. They were like, I mean, it was good when they showed him in the Super Bowl. I was like, okay, that was pretty good. Like, you know, Black Jake.
Dude, I just hate it. Like, he's good. He's a good-looking guy. Like, I want the fat motherfucker that was on there last time, but it's Jake from State Farm. Like, I just want the big white dude sitting there, like, you know, it's Jake. Like, you know, I don't want this good-looking black dude up there. Little rant. But that was my last question.
I mean, I definitely say over on the ads. I feel like, especially this first one, with the potential technical issues they could run into and like disconnects or something, there will be ads. Ads will be like, I would say 5 is almost, that's like free money if you bet, like betting the over. potentially. Okay.
Yeah, I take the over in that as well.
Okay. So, you want to, well, back onto the nade shot thing, and kind of transitioning towards towards LCS and League of Legends. Valorant has finally come out. Someone actually in my org actually has a beta code, and he was playing, and he got a beta code. So,
hell yeah, dude.
I was surprised because he said he was trying to get one, and then I was like, I saw him streaming, and I was like, oh wow, he actually did get one. But
so he was streaming it and everything.
Yeah, he was streaming it. Right when I joined, he got off though, and I was like, dude, I was literally like just getting in to watch. But
Dude, you should have asked him for his login and then played.
It looks fun. I mean, it looks fun. Some of it looks a little kind of cheesy. And then so Shroud, back when they were announcing Valorant and kind of showing things. Here's what I feel like Shroud is kind of Shroud loves to just contradict himself, because he was saying, I don't think Valorant is like simple enough to be to where people can jump in and watch. He was like, in CSGO, smoke grenade, flashbang, like everyone knows what those are. You see it, what it is. And then he was like, but now he's over here like, oh, I feel like Valorant's easy because the maps are kind of bland and they don't distract you or take away from anything. And then
I think it's one of those things, like, after we've actually been able to see gameplay, because initially when they let out that little bit of gameplay that we watched, and there was all these walls and fire and green smoke shit everywhere, like nobody knew what the hell any of it did. And so now being able to watch like multiple games, it's really simple stuff. Like, it either is just there to block vision, or it might do a little damage, or it might reveal location. Like, that's it. Like, it's a lot more simple than I feel like everybody anticipated it.
Yeah, I mean, they have done really well promoting their game, and doing the beta drops is immensely helpful. Like, I don't know when the World Cup was going on, did Fortnite hit 1 million views? I know they might have hit 1 million views across every platform they hit, but for Twitch just to hit 1 million views on one game, it's pretty insane.
I mean, I didn't even check today, dude, because I remember
it was 1.6. I saw 1.6 at a point.
1.6 million people watching the one. Dude, I want to know how many people were watching Tim the Tatman.
When I saw him this morning, it was 100K. I looked earlier before we started. Summit had 250,000 watching him.
Oh my god, dude!
It's insane.
Holy shit,
dude! Here's the thing. What's crazy is the rich just get richer. Like, dude, if you're that big, you've already got you're chilling, and then just playing this game. Imagine how many people new subs or resub and whatever. You have to imagine, say even just 10% of them sub to you, or 10 to 20% sub to you. I don't know what they have total, but
yeah.
And people that big, they make a 60-40 split, so they make $3 per sub. That's anywhere from $75,000 to $150,000 off subs.
Yep. Dude, I was thinking about it, and Ninja being on Mixer, Shroud being on Mixer, I wonder how much this hurt them, because they're not giving out any codes through Mixer. I don't even know if they were playing the damn game.
That's a great question. I'm literally looking it up right now. I'm going on Mixer right now. Ninja has 10,000, not even 10,000 viewers playing Valorant. Given it's 11:30 p.m. right now, but dude, there's no way he ever had 100K viewers. I don't think Mixer as a whole has had 100K viewers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they've put it. I didn't watch the video, but I saw eSports Talk put out, and they said the numbers came back. Mixer's dead. It's hurting. And
it's one of those things. They did well of bringing those two over, but in the end, I feel like Ninja and Shroud aren't in a bad position, because if Mixer does go under, like technically they're contracted through them, but if the company goes under, I'm sure they're able to dip out and just go back to Twitch.
I mean, okay, you wouldn't make the move unless you had like, I think they thought like they are obviously thinking more long term, because they're thinking like, hey, I'll take this check now, and say streaming as a whole dies off, and like I can only be like a big time, like you can only be in the spotlight for so long. So by taking the sellout route, you solidify yourself. You solidify a bag for yourself to survive off of. Whereas, like, I mean, who not to, like, well, it's more of like you gain generational income. Like your kids and your kids are probably taken care of well, given you don't do insane things. And dude, these guys like Shroud and Ninja, they're characters, but they're not, in my mind, they're not dumb. They're not dumb.
Oh, definitely not.
Like, I mean, when I look back at like old YouTubers who have come and gone, some of those dudes have like, I like, okay, throwback name. I don't know if you remember this guy, White Boy 7th Street.
No idea.
Like here. Okay, it's White Boy 7th Street. Like, this dude used to be the YouTube guy. Like, he used to be the YouTube guy back in like Modern Warfare 2, around that time. Like, he kind of, like, he has 2 million subs, but like, dude, the fact that I can show a dude that has 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, and he's dead. Like, look, he posted a video the other day and he got 7K views. He's dead.
Damn.
And like, I don't think his life, like, at that point your life becomes, I have to post to survive. But he sort of like revolutionized he changed the thumbnail game. He's the one, in my mind, that like he initially changed the thumbnail game by like showing like, hey, if you put bright colors, big caps, do things like this to draw attention to your channel. Like, he was kind of, I feel like, a pioneer in the thumbnail game early on.
That makes sense.
But it just like, I mean, I feel like his goals are kind of like, I mean, once you hit a certain, like, obviously you have old videos that get rewatched, so you still make money off old videos, but it's like, you're never, like, he's never gonna peak again. He's hit his peak and he's hit his he's in his decline, and he's
for sure
surviving. Like, he's literally surviving.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like, Ninja and Shroud are staying relevant, and like, it's definitely the longevity of it. Like, they didn't sign something that was like, hey, we'll give you this amount of money if you come. They signed a contract like, hey, we're gonna keep paying you as long as you're streaming on here. Mm-hmm. And then so that part of the money is going to keep coming in. And so even if they lose those, like, if the company goes under, then they get out because they're not getting paid.
Exactly. I feel like there are people who, like, okay. Like, the thing is, it's like, okay, you bring in, like, other than those two, you can't name someone on Mixer who's doing it. Like, you can't, like, no, you could go around, you could go to some of the, like, people who probably watch the most streams and be like, yo, name someone who's extremely relevant on Mixer. And you probably would be like, oh, I don't know. Like, I can't even think of it.
No one.
Because here's, like, there are probably people who watch Ninja and Shroud on Mixer, and they don't watch anyone else on Mixer. The thing is, like, those viewers they have don't trickle over to the lesser guys.
For sure.
Without, like, I mean, Ninja obviously used to host people and, like, let them blow up, but it's like, I mean, by Ninja giving hosts to other Mixer streamers and Shroud doing that, the idea is it keeps people in the platform.
Yeah, but, hey, I mean, realistically, how much does that actually help?
I mean, they have their 30 seconds of fame, and then it's gone.
Yep.
You might make maybe you make $10,000 in a night doing like because you got a host, but like that's not enough.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, dang. But back to Valorant.
yeah, I mean we got a little off topic. Back to Valorant. I mean it
Dude,
was really fun.
What is your opinions of it? Like just watching streams, stuff like that. Like, what do you think?
I've watched more clips of it than streams, just because I've seen Nade Shot clips, I've seen Courage clips, I saw Shroud talking about it. It looks fun. It looks more fun to me. I mean, it looks like a game I kind of like. Watching it, I want to play it just to give it a shot. And I can honestly say I've never had that with CSGO. I never said, oh, I want to play CSGO.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's one of those things. Okay. So, Jericho plays a ton of CSGO.
Okay.
And watching him shit on all these streamers that have not played CSGO is the greatest thing I've seen in my entire life. Because he's such a mediocre player, but simply for the fact that it's so similar to CSGO, him just shredding all these players is great. It's so entertaining to watch. So that's one thing, like, we talked about it last week, like, people that have played CSGO are definitely going to have an upper hand. But of course, there's, like, a learning curve. Like, I heard Tim was talking, and he said, like, on all the guns, there's a little bit of bloom. Like, even if you're crouch staying still kind of thing, which, I mean, if it's CSGO, if you're crouch staying still, that gun, it's like first shot accuracy. Like, it's perfect.
Okay.
And then the spray is a little more random. And so, like, it's a little bit to get ready for, but there's nothing like CSGO, like holding angles, knowing angles, holding your cursor exactly where it needs to be. And so, like, all these CSGO guys are just wrecking shit right now. And it's honestly really fun to watch. And you got all these people playing all these big streamers that are, like, very mediocre at the game. And I feel like all these people are just like, well, why are they getting shit on? Like, they're supposed to be really good. And it's, at the same time, it's like, yeah, but it's just a different animal. Like, you don't see very many big streamers playing CSGO nowadays.
I mean, like, okay. Kind of what you're saying, like, the transition from CSGO to Valorant is so much easier than the transition from, like, you can go from a mediocre CSGO player can be an above average Valorant player, but a mediocre Valorant player is going to be a bot in CSGO.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, and here's the other, like, here's okay. So nothing's been completely said, but Sinatra, former reigning world champ with the San Francisco Shock in the Overwatch League, isn't playing. Like, I don't know if he's gotten benched or they've kind of said, like, hey, you're not, like I mean, they bench players frequently in Overwatch League, so maybe, but he's playing Valorant. He's been playing Valorant lately, and it's seeming, people are getting the impression he might swap to Valorant. And I'm like, dude, reigning world champ, MVP of the last season, and you're just going to drop the game you've essentially established yourself in for a game that you could be mediocre. Because they're saying, like, okay, in Overwatch League, in Overwatch, there are two types of DPS. There's a few types of DPS players. It's like, you have projectile DPS, which is like explosives. So, like, I shoot something and it kind of takes a minute, but it blows up. And then you have hit scan, where it's like, as soon as I shoot, it hits. So, like,
yeah.
And they're like, dude, he isn't even a hit scan player. He's not the god hit scan player. So, like, why is he switching to a game that's so hit scan based, where it's like when you shoot, your shot's going, and then
this game is literally who shoots each other in the head the best.
Exactly.
Like, it's either who shoots each other in the head the best or who controls their spray the best.
But it's crazy.
Dude, but I do applaud Riot. Riot's done real well so far with all this shit. Like, promoting it, the whole closed beta, the outrageous views on Twitch. Like, this game is definitely viral and it's going to stay hot shit for a while. Like, they've done well with it.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, I have my... Okay, let's go viewers high to low on Twitch. Okay. aside from just chatting, you got Valorant right now with 500,000, and then, well, okay, just chatting, 163K, boom, League of Legends. Riot's dominating Twitch. Riot owns Twitch.
Yep.
Like, here's the real thing. If Riot said, hey, we're going to YouTube gaming, that would be a blow to Twitch. If they said, hey, we're taking our big games and we're going YouTube exclusive for, like, if they said, hey, we're going to take League of Legends to YouTube exclusively, we're going to take Pro Valorant game to YouTube exclusively, like, that's when Twitch would be a worry.
Yeah.
Those games have a lot of pull.
And it's kind of like a different animal in a sense, because, like, okay, obviously League of Legends is huge, but if you ever click on the League of Legends, like, browse section, you see, like, there's a couple big streamers, like, very few. But beyond that, like, you have so many streamers that are, like, 7K, 6K, like, anywhere between, like, 2K to 7K, there's 100 of them. Like, there are so many just, like, mediocre, like, mid-tier streamers in League. And so going to Valorant and now also getting those top tier, because you're keeping people in, like, it's not like you're taking away from League of Legends. It's a whole different style of game. It's a whole different animal. And so now they're getting this, like, whole new group of people.
It's, yeah, exactly. Like, who probably, like, just off the top of your head, who do you think lost the most viewers by Valorant being announced? What game?
What game? Okay, well, I mean, because of the Warzone hype.
Yeah, exactly. That was the game I'm saying. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Was Warzone even on the browse thing?
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, I mean, obviously it's not just Warzone, but, like, they only have 60K viewers. So it's like Warzone took the biggest hit. Because...
Oh, yeah.
And, like, Tim the Tatman didn't take a hit really at all because he's still kept his 100K viewers pretty much with whatever game he's playing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what we said. Like, we thought Valorant would be the dethroning of Warzone. And that's kind of what it looks like.
Dude, we're pretty good at this. Getting good. Only 6-7 episodes in, and we're calling the future.
I mean, I feel like we're not terrible at this podcasting prediction stuff.
Except for Rocket League. We sucked at that at the start.
Except for when it comes to the real predictions, you know? Other than that.
When it comes to how gaming is going, we got that part.
But, like, here's the thing. Like, okay. And here's kind of why I think Call of Duty... Here's why I think Call of Duty made the switch from to YouTube. Because I think even when Call of Duty is streaming on Twitch, I don't think Call of Duty was ever at the top of the Call of Duty list. Like, it may have been, but it wasn't because it had, like, 100K viewers. And it's like, oh, my God, like, it's not like you got on Twitch and saw 100K viewers. You're like, oh, Call of Duty League's on. I know. Like,
yeah.
You know, it flew under the radar.
It's always interesting for me to see because, like, League of Legends, like, the LCS is broadcasted on YouTube.
Yeah.
But, like, the LC or the LEC and the LCK are broadcasted on Twitch.
Is the LCS not the LCS? But the LCS is broadcasted on Twitch as well, right?
Oh, I don't know. I always watch it on YouTube.
Okay, I mean, I've seen what's weird is they broadcast it across so many channels. Like, they have it on, like, Riot Games broadcasts it, LCS broadcasts it itself, and LCS is on Twitch. I do know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But it's weird. But I mean, these other leagues signed exclusive deals to stay on YouTube, which I do think the potential growth is better on YouTube, but I think it's a further down the line we could be successful on YouTube, but
yeah,
you have to draw viewers in.
I mean, when I think about it, like, honestly, like, Riot's smart, like, broadcasting the LCS on both of them kind of thing, because I'll watch it on YouTube and there's always, like, anywhere between, like, 16 to, like, 22K.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I always get on as soon as it gets on. I don't really check the views after that, so it could grow. But so that doesn't even include Twitch, which probably is, like, just as big or so.
I mean, I would say LC like League of Legends competitive probably draws in close to 200K viewers plus every time it's live. I mean, when I'm on Twitch, I usually see like I've seen about 80K generally, and I didn't check lately. I didn't catch anything live over the weekend. I watched some highlights to catch myself up.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch highlights on today's game. I didn't realize there was a game today.
Oh, dude, it wasn't worth the freaking time.
Like, were any of the games this weekend worth it? I mean, it's almost
all right.
Like, who was it that said it in our stream a few weeks ago? But they said LCS was top heavy, and it is. It's seeming really top heavy.
Right now, it definitely seems top heavy. Like, all these games definitely predicted them, but the thing is, like, they weren't even competitive. Like, C9, oh my god, dude. When they played 100 Thieves, I thought 100 Thieves was at least going to, like, step up to the plate, you know? Give them a nice, like, 2 to 3 run.
Oh my god.
Dude, these games were abusive. Like, that. Some of them were the most kills I've ever seen in a competitive game.
Like, dude, first game, they slay out. They literally slayed out. Second game, they pushed, like, in my mind, they didn't even, like, what was so funny is, like, as a viewer who's sort of as a casual viewer who doesn't have the greatest understanding of every nuance in the game, but it's like, dude, they were, like, I've played enough Smite to realize kind of towers and things like that, but it's like, dude, they may 100 Thieves did better kill-wise in the second game, like, the difference in kills was a little better, but it was like, dude, y'all were never pushing. Like, you were always on your heels getting destroyed in your back, like, on towers. Like, your towers were down. The games were, I mean, those games were 20 minutes getting on, like, I don't think they broke 30 minutes. It was bad.
The meta right now for League of Legends is so objective based between dragons, towers, and Baron. Like, this is the most objective-based meta that I've ever seen. And, like, Cloud9 literally was all over every single one of them, and it was just game over.
Dude, and then, like, on the other game, like, EG is, like, they're rolling. They are officially rolling.
Dude, I'm becoming a fan. I think they got a dirty team right now. I think they're playing out of their mind.
And, like, I mean,
but also, I have been saying that I think FlyQuest is overrated. So,
I mean, yeah, FlyQuest. I mean, they survived today, but, like, really, Golden Guardians, I never.
Golden Guardians shouldn't have even freaking been there, man. I'm still pissed that Dignitas lost to them. They threw that game because of that stupid Baron call, and now they're not in it. Like, Dignitas and FlyQuest would have been a good game. Golden Guardians, I'm happy their season's done. Like, they didn't deserve to be there. Like, go away.
Like, okay. So, I mean, and then I watched that EG. Like, if you watched the last of the EG, like the fourth game in EG and FlyQuest, like, EG just said, like, oh my god, like, they started a team fight, sent someone just went straight in the back lines and started, like, taking out towers, taking out inhibitors, and then all of a sudden, like, they were like, oh my god, he's gonna take our, like, we're gonna lose if we don't drop back and get him. And then it's like, okay, we drop back to get him, and then the rest of the team is just moving in, and it's like, dude, we're not even attacking players. We've literally got our eyes on objective, because it's like, dude, you've lost. Like,
yeah,
you just have no answer.
Yeah, so, I mean, EG walked through them. FlyQuest walked through GG. GG looked shitty. Some kind of shitty. They looked a little better their last game, but in the end, like, FlyQuest took a long time to draw it out. Like, I definitely think you could see that FlyQuest was the better team, but at the I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow, though. I think tomorrow.
I mean, TSM. Are we taking?
Yeah,
is TSM going to be dominant as Cloud9?
All right, so here's TSM has been so inconsistent, and 100 Thieves and TSM have extremely similar play styles. And if you look back at the year of 100 Thieves and TSM playing, it's pretty much 50-50 with who wins the game.
Okay, so this could potentially be like a game 5.
Yes, I think this is going to be a good game. If it's a 3-0 TSM, I might cry. If it's the 3-0 100 Thieves, I'll be surprised. But I think it's going to be a 5-game series. I think it's going to be my 6 hours of League that I've been waiting for.
Okay, so win or lose, whoever wins this game, are you picking them over FlyQuest?
Hell yes.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which team it is, they're beating FlyQuest.
I mean, here's kind of how okay, say 100 Thieves wins, say 100 Thieves beats FlyQuest, say EG loses to C9. I feel like the worst finals we could possibly get would be a rematch of Cloud9 100 Thieves. If that ended up being our total finals, I think we might maybe they bounce back, but I don't and that it could either be the worst finals or the greatest finals, because it's like maybe they come back and they learn something and then they give them a real run. But it's like, dude,
I'm not trying to see somebody get abused in the finals again.
If I saw that on some if I had to go into next Sunday and I had to think oh my god, I'm gonna have to watch 100 Thieves and Cloud9, I probably wouldn't. I would probably it's one of those things I probably wouldn't watch, and I would just be like, okay, well, I mean, I didn't watch because I knew Cloud9 would win.
Yeah. Honestly, with how things are going right now, I think TSM will beat 100 Thieves as long as they don't they have to make sure they play their game kind of thing. They can't follow 100 Thieves. But I think TSM will win. Okay. And then TSM will destroy FlyQuest.
Okay.
C9 will beat EG, and I think it won't look pretty. I think C9 will kind of run over him.
Okay.
And so
3-1.
I think it'll
maybe 3-1, 3-0.
Yeah, 3-1, 3-0, something like that. And then EG will go and play TSM, and I think EG wins that with how they're playing. Honestly, it depends on how bad they were to be beat by C9. Okay. And then going into semifinals, I think the finals is going to be EG and C9. I think we're going to see them twice.
Okay. I mean, I think the best thing for the LCS, from a selling standpoint, would be a TSM Cloud9 finals.
Oh yeah, big names, dude.
I mean, just because
everybody loves TSM.
People would like to see that. And then, but I mean, I feel like EG is kind of, this has been their split, and they kind of want to hey, if they come out and beat C9, that would be the one, we'd be okay, cool. If they could beat C9, and then if somehow C9 could not play them, if they could get by with only having to play C9 once, say TSM beats FlyQuest, and then EG beats C9, and then TSM beats C9. I don't know if I said that twice, but if we got an EG TSM finals, I think it could be the split of EG.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, C9 is my front runner, and I think TSM's probably, I would still bet on them to probably go second. And EG,
dude, it's kind of funny to me because after all the teams that have been knocked out, besides Golden Guardians because they just got knocked out today, all the teams that aren't in the game. So at the start of the year, the ranked system resets in normal solo duo queue online.
Okay.
And so, but it's funny because you see a lot of TL's players are starting to make it back up to the top of the challengers list. And it's hilarious because now they have a bunch of time to play, so now they're climbing. And you just see all these pro players climbing now, and all the non-pro players are getting pissed about it. It's hilarious.
It could, I mean, we still have to wait next week. The finals aren't until next weekend, so it could be good, but I mean, it's C9's. It's for C9 to lose. C9 has been so dominant. Did they only lose once, or did they lose twice this split?
Twice?
No, they only lost once. They only lost to TSM. TSM's the only team.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Goodness. But I mean, we got a game tomorrow, and then we break until Saturday, and then we play Sunday, and then the finals is that next Saturday, Sunday.
I mean, it's coming up. We're coming up on the end.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I think is that all we got for?
Yeah, that's about all we got to say about this
Okay. Let's
League of Legends stuff, man.
jump. I mean, we went to town on Valorant and the whole mixer thing and.
Oh yeah.
All the other. We went to town on random stuff this time. I feel like. Okay. Oh, what am I doing? Let me go to schedule. I guess we'll recap. Okay. The biggest thing. So like, okay. Here's the rundown on Overwatch. Like, okay. First off, the biggest newsworthy thing that happened was, okay, so Rascal, it was in, let me find the game. It was the San Francisco Shock, I want to say Valiant game. I want to say this was the game it happened in because it involved, I want to say Rascal. Rascal was one of the players that said something, and I want to think it was Lastro of the Valiant. But they just like, I mean, I think it was just pre-game or mid-game chat, like, oh, we're just going to say funny things in chat because we think no one can see, but really, with everything going on now, the mods can see and the observers can see what's said in chat. But they just said some, like, there was an Instagram post, and it, it was a picture of Lastro, and it said, and it had, like, it said, like, big dick sex. And it was, like, quoted by, Lastro. But, like, dude, I don't know how much these players get paid, but they got fined, both players got fined between somewhere in $1,000 to $3,000 a piece. Just for the constant, like, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, vulgar chat, maybe? Chat. Inappropriate use of chat. Something along those lines. But super silly stuff, like, but here's my thing, like, I mean, I know, like, okay, when we're watching football, sometimes you'll catch mic'd up moments where, like, okay, they'll be on, like, you can hear kind of like the trash talk between players.
Yeah.
And those don't result in fines. You know, more fines from like pro sports result in like illegal hits or things like that, like unsportsmanlike.
And someone with a helmet.
Whereas it's not more like, I feel like trash, I mean, not that was real trash talk in my mind. It was more like stupid chat stuff, like stupid things to say. But it was like I happened to be looking and I saw this and I was like, oh my god, I was like, what? Like, this is so stupid. So stupid. So stupid.
It's like freaking Call of Duty drawing the penis all over the producers like week 2 or something like that.
It's just, you don't, like, it's so dumb. Like, it's amazing, like, how much money these guys get paid and how stupid some of them are. Like, because Overwatch League, like, you have a lot of people who, like, they're on academy teams when they're 16, 17, then they hit that 18 and they move up to the pro team, and they're not, like, they don't know how to handle, or they don't know how to be pros. Like, you don't know how to be a pro. You know how to play like a pro, but you're not, like, how to be professional as a player.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something that, like, when it comes to gaming, it's just not, like,
I mean,
it's not prominent in the, like, professional aspect of gaming, because in the end, it is still just a bunch of nerds playing the same game. Like,
it's,
you know,
dude, half of gaming has always been like, oh, I love to talk crap to people I'm playing against.
that's like, part of the best thing. Is just the best feeling is whenever you have a great play and then you say get shit on. Like, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Well, like, even when you watch like see, but the other thing is, like, okay, Call of Duty, when you watch Call of Duty, like, events, you'll see, like, okay, when they win or they clutch up on a search or something and they close out the map or they get a win, they'll, like, stand up and they'll be like talking. I mean, they don't, like, say, like, oh, F you, and, like, but they'll be like they go, I don't know what the word that, I don't think the words pop off, but they say there's something that they use in fighting games as a term where like people where they like get up and start like really getting into like the beating that they're giving their opponent. Like they're like, oh come on, like I don't even know what the term is, but like where you kind of get up and you're like in that talking shit mode.
Yeah.
But okay, the biggest thing that the only reason I'm way more versed in this is because I'm in a lot of like I follow a lot of Dallas Fuel things. But the biggest thing that they talked about, and they even posted on it on their page, and it was like things that shouldn't have happened this past week. And so basically with the meta, like here's kind of how teams play. Like there's kind of an established meta that most of the teams will stick to from week to week. It's kind of like, okay, like this is kind of what we're going to run. And then so it was kind of like Dallas this week. What they did is they put one of their players on Tracer, who essentially was a hero that was thought to be not very strong in the current week's meta. And somehow they managed to pull out a win. I mean, granted, it was only 3-2. It wasn't close. Like it wasn't dominant. They didn't look. But it brings the question that me and like I always see it. Like everyone, if you're in any Overwatch group or anything, it always comes up. It's like, dude, teams love to just play what's popular rather than what they can. Like it's kind of like, okay, if I have I like to break things down in football because I feel like football is a good comparison in sports, but it's like, okay, well actually we'll go NBA. So if I have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson or whatever on my team, like and then Draymond or whatever, like my team is built around shooting threes and like we're not a team that's gonna go drive up and put layups up on you all game. Like we're not a physical team. We're more of like a finesse team. Like we're gonna live by the three or we're gonna die by the three.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you get teams who kind of copy that idea, and they're like, okay, well, our plan to beat you is to outscore you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw up threes all game, and then it doesn't work because we can't consistently keep that going.
Yeah.
And so my point is like, I think teams get so stuck in this idea of like we have to play what everyone else is playing because we think that gives us the best shot, rather than play like, dude, every team is made up of different players who have different skill sets. So we need, rather than play something we're weak at, we need to play the best comp that we can come up with. Like whatever it is, even if it may be like, people would rather see their team lose doing what they've done all year and been good at than watch their team they would rather watch their team lose doing something new than doing what they've done all season. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. Like, you will not make this work.
It's like the whole definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome.
Exactly.
Like, it makes your shit up.
Like, dude, you get like, it's just like, dude, some teams, like, the great teams can do it all. That's just a fact. But then it's like, dude, you can't, like, you're going to go in and out of having chances where you can win and lose. Like, you're going to go and have chances where your team's going to be strong. But, like, dude, you need to figure out, like, this is why you have coaches. You have coaches so they can kind of formulate an idea. Like, your coaches should have an idea of what your players can do and then be able to tell you, like, hey, this is what we should do. Like, we can't play that. Like, that, us playing that is not going to be constant success. Like, we would have better luck if we played if we did our own thing. Even if no one else is doing it, doing our own thing may be the reason we win. And even watching this Valiant Fuel game, the casters were saying, they were like, hey, like, because they were kind of getting on him. They were like, dude, like, you're going to run this Tracer who it can work, but it's gonna be like it may be a lot harder to make it work. But like in the end, it paid off. In the end, it all paid off. But it's like, dude, you can't. You have to play to your strengths rather than playing, as you said, like TSM. When TSM comes down to play this week, they need to play their game. They don't need to play someone else's game. Like, do what you're good at.
I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But
so what I'm thinking here, or not thinking here, like, so through the weekend, besides Dallas finally winning a game against a very mediocre team, but who cares? They won a game. Proud of them. Was there any big like upsets, standouts, anything like that?
Okay. I don't. There's really nothing. There wasn't anything I feel like that was insanely like, oh my god, we need to talk about this. Those were kind of like the 2 points. Like, I mean, I'll go. Let me go to news. Let me go to news. There's where was I at earlier? Let me go to the main page. There wasn't anything that was like super groundbreaking. They felt like this idea of like the Dallas Fuel game was the biggest thing, because it was like Dallas Fuel had come off losing 15 games, and then now it kind of looked like, oh my god, like we're gonna lose again. And some of these teams, like, dude, it comes to like, I mean, I was going off in the Dallas Fuel group on Facebook. I was like, dude, you have coaches, like, why don't you have a coach? Like, I don't want a coach who's not gonna like change something rather than just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you know what's gonna happen, just like you said with the insanity. But
dude, I am looking forward to next week, because next week we finally have some of those Asian teams playing the American team.
We have the
and I'm wondering, huh?
Yeah, I get what you're like, the potential ping issues. Maybe.
Yes, that's what I think is going to be interesting next week.
Here's another point that I saw someone bring up on Facebook, and they said, okay, so you have these Chinese teams playing at 5 a.m. or whatever. So later down the line, when all these teams, okay, so when we get to playoffs, and you have these Chinese, Asian-based teams that are playing American-based teams, they have been so adjusted to playing at their own time at like 3 a.m., 5 a.m., and now they're going to have to totally adjust to playing in like a primetime spotlight where the majority of viewers can see. So like at 3 a.m., there's only like 20K watching, maybe 20, 30K. And granted, when it's prime time, there's only like 50K is an average. So it's like, how is that going to play a role? How, like, what are teams are going to have to do? Even like these teams are going to have to do more to prepare, like, physically and mentally for like playing at a whole different time. Like, hey, my body's used to being asleep right now, whereas now I have to play a game.
Corey, the solution here is simple. Adderall. It's what all gamers need. It's the fuel.
I mean, you never know. But looking ahead, what were some of these matchups you were talking about?
Hold on, let me go on over to them.
I don't even feel like we get any of them.
I think there's only like 2 of them. So we have Vancouver.
Well, I think Vancouver's I think Vancouver is Korean based. I think they're chilling in Korea.
They're not in Vancouver?
No, I definitely don't think they're in Vancouver.
Well, shit.
Because here's the thing, like, a lot of people, like, okay, you can have success with, like, all sorts of people, but, like, a lot of these teams like to go with, like, a full Korean roster. And Vancouver, I want to say, is one of those teams that has generally gone with, like, a full Korean roster. Like, last season, they had a full Korean roster, and they were dominant. So it's like, you don't, like, let me look at their team. Let me see if I can see their team. God, you got to go all the way back to week 1 to figure out.
You see, initially I was wondering why they didn't like regulate that but also it makes sense because there's not too many different there's not the LCS or like the LCK, like there's not multiple different ones because like in the LCS you're only allowed to have 2 starting positions as international players.
Oh, really? In the LCS, you said?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So like you can't. I mean,
you can't stack your team full of Koreans because you can pay them more.
Okay.
You only get 2 of them.
So here's my thing. Like last season, I mean, some of these teams do kind of go like they have a variety of teams. Like okay, so season 1 for Overwatch League, it was London Spitfire in the finals versus Philadelphia. And Philadelphia has generally has in the past has been one of the more diverse teams. Like they have like I don't know where Poco's. I want to say like they have English speakers and then they have a few Koreans on their team. But it's like generally you go like they were one of the more diverse teams, and then London ended up winning it all, and their team was full Korean based team.
Interesting.
But here's my other thing, like, so a team like Cloud9, I mean, granted, I don't know how their LCS, I mean, obviously you just said they can only have 2 international people, but I feel like Cloud9 has a lot more recruiting power than some of these other teams.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But then, like, last season we had Vancouver, the full Korean roster, and then the Shock, who... I mean, towards the end of the season, once the meta shifted, they did have a more Korean-based roster than they initially started with. But it's kind of like these, like, and even in the Dallas Field chat that I'm in, they always say, they're like, dude, Dallas just needs to go full Korean. Like, you go full Korean, you may have success. And then someone pointed, they're like, well, if you look, some of the other teams have done that and have had no success. Like, they still suck. So, I mean... I feel like there's always more ways to find success than there's one simple way. But I think that's all I have. I don't know. When I'm looking at these games next week, what's surprising is I watch more of these 3 a.m. games and 3 a.m. games than some of these other ones. Because it's just like I happen to be playing and then I'm like, oh, it's 3 a.m. I'll just turn on Overwatch, see what's up. It's so surprising.
Dang. I mean, we still got a ton of Overwatch to look forward to for the rest of the season. It's a long season.
Now, here, let me figure out, when is the last weekend? Oh, there's no...
We have 17 more weeks.
Gosh, okay, well, what's so silly is
and that's just regular season.
Are we in? Are we on week 10 now? We're going into week 10?
Yeah.
We are. So what's so silly is they don't even have... You can't go past week 11 to see who's playing who.
Yeah, I saw that. You can click on all of them. You can't see any of them.
So it's really crazy. It's crazy.
I don't know, dude. Overwatch has a lot of time to play out. It's got a lot going on.
So by the time we get to the end of Overwatch, League of Legends should be starting back up again, right? Like, how long of a split breaker do they take?
It's... Ooh, I know it's the summer split. Let me look it up. Summer split 2020. Start date is... Oh, it starts in August.
It starts in August? Okay, that's generally been when the Overwatch League has kind of ended.
Okay.
I want to say August, September is sort of where it ends. So it'll be... I mean, I don't want to base our whole... I mean, Call of Duty goes until July for the regular season, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at least we can follow Call of Duty well. But
yeah, we can follow, it's going to line up. We're not going to have all of them to talk about at one time, but it'll line up. And then also with the Valorant coming in, I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about with all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So RLCS Season 10, when does that start? I hate that thing is Bing. My search engine is naturally Bing for some reason. So, okay, that's still the old. See, because I'm like, it makes you wonder how long this coronavirus stuff is going to go on and really when we're going to get to the end of this. Because I'm kind of like, it'd be insane to think how, like, this quarantine, I mean, it sounds like we're going to be in our houses till May. No doubt.
Yeah.
And then, like, and it's still like, okay, I saw a thing on Twitter and it was like most deaths in New York thus far in a single day due to coronavirus. But I'm like, dude, like, I mean, places are starting to pay employees more. Face masks are starting to are going to start. At some point, we're probably going to get to like, yo, everyone needs to be having face masks. If you're
I saw that they were trying to like not enforce it, but they put out some like public notice that they want people to start going out with face masks.
Apparently the idea is now that coronavirus may spread more airborne than through touch. So it's like, oh my god. It's a crazy, I mean, everyone's always saying it's crazy times we're living in now. And it's...
I'm gonna make myself a bougie looking mask, dude. It's gonna look sick.
Like, I'm just ready to go out and get a drink or something. Like, something just chill.
For real.
It's insane.
I'm ready for sports to be back, man.
And then it's like, dude. So, okay, that whole Dana White is insane with this buying a private island thing to host his UFC events. And
wait, what?
Yeah, Dana White came out and said he secured a private island. He literally secured a private island so he can get his fighters to fight on an island so he can still have fans.
Oh my gosh.
They're talking about for MLB potentially having Arizona be the hub for the MLB this season. So far, like, for however long it needs to go. And I was listening on the radio and they were saying what, like, one guy was like, they were talking like, okay, well, who's gonna play? Like, some of the players are more like financially bound. Like, hey, like, I didn't sign my mega million contract, so I can't not play. Like, I need to make this amount of money. Because someone was like, he said like, oh, well, I would not play with I wouldn't step away from my family for 4.5 months or whatever to play baseball in quarantine, essentially. Because they were like, you stay in your hotel, you go to and from the arena. Like, that's your life.
Yeah, that's all they could do.
That's your life.
See, they would have to accommodate for families. Like, I feel like that's the only way they'd be able to like get the deal done.
And then, but here, like, so the guy said, like, he was like, no, I wouldn't do that. And then he talked to his wife. His wife said, then he came back and said, I'm gonna do it. Like, I would have to do it. And it's like, dude, like, you are that financially like bound to have to play. Whereas, and then they were talking about, well, what about someone who's they used Mike Trout as an example, and they said Mike Trout is about to have a kid in the coming months. So someone like him, who's like, if he didn't play another game, he could be financially stable for the whole season, and so on and so on.
Oh yeah.
So what do these people who lose their all-star players get from with them not playing? Like, how are they gonna, like, what kind of compensation do they get? And I don't think they should get compensation, because it's like, dude, that just sucks. Like, it's just kind of what you deal with. And then it kind of brings in the idea of like, ooh, you might get one of the most crazy seasons ever because players aren't going to play that normally would play, and then you have teams who could potentially be upsets, and like, because like, oh, just because all their all-stars aren't playing, like, our average guys, our average Joes may run us up to a title.
Our average team beats your average team.
Like, we have such a low, like, our average salary is so low that our players are required to play almost because of their like financial situations, that we're still like, we're good.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like, hey, like, maybe signing all these mega million contract players is going to be detrimental to you this season.
You never know, man. I guess we'll see, dude. Wild times.
It's insane. It's crazy. I mean, obviously, next week we're going to be in the same boat. You know, I don't think anything's going to change. But, like, Dana White's like, dude, we're having UFC events every week. We're going to have them every week. It almost sounds
they'd make a lot of money because everybody would watch it because they don't have shit else to watch.
And that's the other thing. Overwatch League is going to get their ESPN is picking up some more, like, ESPN is going to be picking up Overwatch League games.
Oh, really?
Even though
I believe it. Did you see the 2K tournament?
With the actual players playing?
Yeah, with the players playing 2K, it was a 16-team tournament over like 4 or 5 days on ESPN, and it was literally, it was hilarious because the players were seeded by their personal ranks, like how their personal overalls are on the game.
Oh, okay.
That's how they were that's how they were seeded.
Okay.
And then they went and like they played as like team. They didn't have to be their own team. Like Kevin Durant chose the Clippers. Like.
Well, did you see the NFL, like the Madden tournament?
No, they did one on Madden.
They had pros playing Madden, and the finals ended up being Tyreek Hill and Derwin James. And Derwin James was he was the 49ers, and Tyreek Hill was the Bears. And they were like, all the people were like, I mean,
oh my gosh,
smacked him, and it makes me think like, okay, when coming down to Madden as a pro player, I feel like the players should have, it kind of shows your understanding of positions outside of your own, because like Tyreek Hill was decent, but like Derwin James put up 50 points to like 3 on Tyreek Hill. Like it was bad. And he's sitting there like, there's a clip of him talking crap. He's like, oh, you like that out route? He's like, I'm gonna take it. And then so he throws an out route, and Derwin James comes up and takes it. And I'm like, dude, like does Tyreek Hill have the how good is his QB knowledge? Like, he's a wide receiver, whereas Derwin James, you're playing on defense, so you have the vision, in my mind, of like what you do. Whereas Tyreek Hill, he's always seeing the game through the eyes of a receiver. So it's like, what if I put Patrick Mahomes versus someone like Derwin James? How good is that?
See, I think that'd be like a good little experiment to do. But also, in the end, it's still a video game, and video game knowledge is key. You know.
I mean.
But I think that'd be something like if you got like Patrick Mahomes against Derwin James, and they both played like Madden a decent like amount, like similar amounts. I wonder how that game would go. I wonder if you'd be able to see that kind of difference then. You know.
Yeah, I mean, here I almost feel like I would like to see pro athletes play games. Like, okay, I watched Gordon Hayward play a little bit of League of Legends, and he was like grinding back to plat, and I'm like, dude, like, I would almost be interested in more seeing like, tell me all the pro players across all sports that play MOBAs like League of Legends or something, and I want to see that kind of tournament. Give me
that'd be pretty cool.
Watching those players who like, they may be bots, like they may like in the overall sense they're bad, but it still would be interesting. Like when you watch a bunch of bad people play a game, it'd be kind of fun.
Or what we could do is get like all the like players for each team to like just starting positions to play as themselves. So you have like NBA, like you have 2K tournaments. And you have to have like LeBron playing as LeBron, and like all that shit. I think that'd be freaking hilarious.
Speaking of which, another league we could jump into. I saw it in here earlier, but we could always jump into the 2K league as a potential thing. There is a 2K league. So That's always another potential route we could jump into as some other, like, as we kind of lose some of the topics we've talked about, like, okay, we've kind of, Rocket League's done. We lost one of our 4 core sports that we were covering. And then LCS is going to be on kind of, I mean, we can always
only got like 3 weeks or so.
We can always talk on the news of things that are like the major things that are happening, but it's, I mean, there's not going to be new games like Valorant coming out every week or whatever.
True.
So it'll be interesting to see where we can go with this.
Yeah, in the end, it's still gaming, and all the gamers are stuck at home right now, only gaming. So I'm sure we'll have shit to do.
Very much so. Either way, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, dude. I think that's a wrap.
We went for a lot longer than I thought we were going to go for.
What did we go for, like an hour and a half?
Probably. Right now my time's at 1:40. I'm going to end it right here. I'm going to call it.
All right. Thanks,
everybody.
guys.